Greetings. We come once again, always again, to the cursed lands of Barovia. You will join your travelers feeling safer, though perhaps that will not last, as they now journey from the ruined and tragic fortress of Argenstrolz towards Krezek, unless their plans have changed.
No, we're still going to Krezek.
Fuck Krezek. Let's go to his castle right now and go fuck him up.
I asked off screen and forgot to ask in front of you, so.
I have not come up with any reason to do anything different.
We need cold weather gear before we can go to the Amber Temple anyway, so we might as well.
I thought Strahd. I'm trying to remember last section.
Indeed, you did encounter Strahd last session. He confronted you on your way out of the dragon's old fortress, actually more of a mansion, but only if you want to be correct. And he aggressively, once again, demanded that you hand over that which you took from him.
Alright. Keep them fake armor.
You were then able to direct him towards the Vistani who had previously accosted you for the book while looking for someone else. He left, and his cohorts with him, upon which you were able to leave, make camp. Sasha was able to unveil his newly taken spell, which would quite comprehensively disguise your location. And then you had settled in for a rest. The first of many. But the last with your companion Ari. For when you awoke, a note had been left behind. Or rather, this time, when you awake, a note had been left behind that the rigors of the travel was a bit more than Ari had expected. And so after leaving behind what Ari had felt was fair, they'd taken their own reprieve into the night.
Sounds like a bitch move.
Not everyone's cut out for the trials ahead, the crack.
Despite this, your travels from that point forward actually run relatively smoothly.
Nice.
You encounter little resistance, and at nighttime, practically none, so long as you're willing to stop. The first thing of consequence that occurs is you advancing upon what your map calls the village of Krezek.
Cool. While you're looking that up, I had a question. I know how many nights it took us to get from where we were last time to Krezek. Would I have had time to turn those +1 bullets into +1 bullets?
How many of them are there?
10. I can make a roll for Tinker's Tools if you like.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I'll give myself guidance on this.
So they're sling ammunition and you're changing to musket?
Yeah.
Right.
19, 23. Oh, but expertise, so. Jeez. Okay, sorry. It's 4, that's 8. A lot. Like, hold on. I should have this written down on the thing. 8 plus 5 is 13. 13 plus 14 is 27. Plus 2 is 29.
See, I kind of feel like that's Artificer's thing in that if you're working on tools, it's kind of hard for you to fuck up.
I am the best at this, apparently.
You discover a very unique talent, almost as if this calling was deep inside you all along, only recently having surfaced. And I'm going to say, yeah, you're able to get all of them. It's like a little close, but there's a particularly long stretch leading up to Krezek. You're able to cram that last last
About how many?
little bit.
About how many days worth?
Can I put my green bag down next to you? I need that. Sorry. That's my special thing.
8.
Ooh, okay. Then
How many goats would that have been? Because we were slaughtering goats when we stopped.
Yeah, if you need me to make some rolls for scavenging,
I thought I gave an amount of rations
for
for
one.
For 2 goats, but we had the other 5 because he wasn't able to cut them all
Was
up.
it just for the 2 goats?
Yes.
What did you get out of those 2 goats?
It was enough to
Data
split
reminder.
between
It was
all of us 2 with 1 to spare.
No, it was 2 with 5 to spare because then we had that 1 spare and then it became 3 for each.
That's what it was.
So 2 times 6 plus 5, so 12, 17.
And I remember
2.
Yeah, you got
And
17.
I remember that one of your rolls was not so hot, and the other one was fairly cool.
Sounds about right.
So I'm going to say I'm going to give the same rate of 8 per goat, with the exception that you can roll to potentially get more out of an individual goat, with the potential getting less.
I just did 8 per goat
You can kind of
That's pretty
coast,
good.
or you can
because there are 5 goats.
Yeah, that's
It's 40
probably
rations.
good since we could actually do it on camp, so I can actually take my time.
That'd be-
especially now that you don't have people like looking at you potentially.
and there's 8. So how many days was between when we stopped to get to Krezek?
I'm gonna say 8.
Oh, that's exactly how much we all got. So don't change your rations at all.
Well,
Because
So it's
40
for
rations
5
divided by
goats.
5.
5 people, right? Duh. Okay.
Because it's marked and everything. So our
Okay.
rations changed not at all.
Excellent.
Okay, I got it.
Still need to buy some.
I say we get rid of Irene and it's fine.
Well, it's not gonna happen if you just talk about it out of character.
I know.
In the meantime, there's a final stretch of road you travel down that branches north and climbs a rocky escarpment, ending in a gatehouse built into a 20-foot high wall of stone, reinforced with buttresses every 50 feet or so. The wall encloses a settlement on the side of a snow-dusted mountain spur. Beyond the wall, you see the tops of snow-covered pines and thin white wisps of smoke. The somber toll of a bell comes from a stone abbey that clings to the mountainside high above the settlement.
Huh.
The steady chime is inviting, a welcome change from the deathly silence and the oppressive fog to which you have grown accustomed. It's hard to tell at this distance, but there seems to be a switchback road clinging to the cliffs that leads up from the walled settlement to the abbey.
Strange. Let's head up to the gate.
There's no stirring from the wall until you are much closer.
What time of day would you say that we reach it at? Like, ballpark?
Just before mid-morning, maybe like 9 o'clock by our
Okay.
standard. It's early, but what else is there to do? The air grows colder as you approach the walled settlement. 2 square towers with peaked roofs flank a stone archway into which is set a pair of 12-foot tall, iron-bound wooden doors. Carved into each arch above the doors is a name: Krezek. The walls that extend from the gatehouse are 20 feet high, and atop the parapet you see 4 figures wearing fur hats and clutching spears. As you approach, they watch you, but it is incredibly noticeable, given your time here, especially with others. They watch you not with any kind of nervousness or fear, as you might suspect, and they don't eye you as if you are unsuspecting prey or simply wanderers, as you also might expect. They do, however, still watch you as you approach.
But like normal guards.
Just a little more at ease than the guards that you've been accustomed to thus far.
Huh.
Or
That's a
people in
welcome
power
change.
that you've been accustomed
Also
to thus far.
potentially a good sign.
Hey, do you want to give me a perception check real quick?
It's story about it. I have the number there.
Wisdom.
Plus 2 plus.
Wisdom, and if you have proficiency in it, then you'd add your
It does.
proficiency.
For some reason, it wasn't updated.
That'd be 15.
As you're walking up, like you, just the way like the ground feels on your feet, you like notice that there's some faint like wagon tracks that you guys are walking on. It's not super hard to tell, but like if you're looking forward, like you kind of miss it. You're like,
So like this place gets regular traffic.
or had traffic somewhat recently.
It's a wagon.
Once you get within
No.
Only
5
person we know
No.
about is Siguror.
of the 5 feet of the gate, one of the guards does speak up and asks, "Halt! Who goes there?"
Travelers. Looking to come in from the cold.
And replenish some of our supplies.
Travelers.
Yes.
Oh, you've come at a good time. Perhaps. Would you mind waiting a moment while we get the mayor?
Not at all. Once he turns and leaves, I will say, hopefully it is not like the last one.
He turns
It is
and actually like
kill of
motions
theirs.
like over, like behind him, and you hear somebody else going. 2 guards who are here, like don't.
Then I whisper the second part.
And it takes a little while.
Yeah.
But eventually, an older, mustachioed man is brought up and is looking down upon you. He's in nice dress, though it may be a little understated. He's just on the more subtle side of nobility. He looks down upon you with a sour face, one could say. Though he has it like before he comes up over, like the expression doesn't change when he sees you.
Oh, okay.
He looks. He pauses a couple of seconds longer, like you notice. Like he pauses a couple seconds longer on Sasha. And then he takes his time looking at Irina and Ismark. He says, "Travelers. Oh, very strange. I have been told you wish entry."
Yes.
We have need to refresh the supplies, and the town was closest in our travels.
That, in and of itself, is quite uncommon. Though I have dealt with travelers before, you seem to have a couple of locals among you. Though I assure you I do not wish to know the details. You've caught us at a better time. Until recently, we have been quite dry and deprived of livery, and recently had a reprieve.
You speak of the Wizards of Wines.
I do.
Oh,
Good to see that shipment reached there on time.
yes. You might be happy to know that we were the ones who helped with that, actually. We can be quite useful if you have need of the service of adventurers.
That brings me to the point that I was about to make. Normally, I would turn away any outsiders, as we have experienced plenty of those who were foolish enough to seek Strahd's destruction, and those who sought, he doesn't scrub, and even more foolishly sought Strahd's employ. And I assure you we will have no tolerance for either. However, given the circumstances, and perhaps this occasion, I will grant you entry on the condition that you do not linger and you do not trouble the people in town.
It is not trouble we are hoping to bring to the town.
Merely the spending of coin.
Perhaps a few nights reprieve.
I'm more interested in seeing your monastery. I've heard many things about it.
He raises an eyebrow at this. It's smooth. He isn't super taken aback, but he's noticeably finally curious, and remarks,
Is there anything you
well, I
can
shall
tell me
leave you
about?
to that.
That's fine.
He turns to one of the guards and says, you may let them in. And the guard, nods. The gates rattle and are slowly opened. You see, other guards, people who have pulled, the doors open and are standing to watch you guys go through.
So this place seems way more, fortified and way easier to defend than, Valaki.
Valaki was fairly fortified.
Okay.
You could call this place on par with their fortifications, at least from what you have seen so far, with the exception of their leadership.
Right.
Assuming he doesn't reveal himself to
Nice.
be holding crazy festivals. And as you walk past the guards, none of them appear dead inside as if they've attended festivals.
Okay.
Though they are still not the greatest looking and the most lively.
Let's do someone in a stockade with a donkey hat. I'm going to be really concerned.
As well, perhaps you should.
Alright, should we perhaps head to the inn first and get a drink? I will head to gather supplies. I will meet you there. Is there anything that you wish? Let me know and I will do my best to acquire it.
Cannot think of anything at the moment. Maybe later.
Okay.
And nor can I.
Do you wish to go alone, or?
That is fine. This place sounds safe. I should be able to handle it by myself.
That I believe. You should still be worried. We've only seen the face of the town so far.
If there are desperate and horrible people hiding in the shadows, will not the diviner see them? I
So
will
you
be
said-
fine. Please relax.
So you said you're headed to get.
Yeah, supplies. I'm gonna head to it. I'm gonna turn
Supplies.
to a guard as we walk in and say, my good man, is there a place where I could gather supplies? So like a general store, or perhaps a blacksmith if you have one.
I don't think we have much like that around here.
Surely you must have a trader of some kind.
Not in lands like these. You may find someone who'd be able to help you up a couple of blocks and then towards the west a block. But as far as traders go, no.
So most imports your town gets is drink and food.
Apart from the drink that we got a few days ago, we don't get anything from the outside.
You're entirely self-sufficient.
Aye. And
I
another
heard
guard
the land
pitches.
was hard to farm here. How have you managed?
Another guard pitches in. It's the only safe way. I'm trying to remember something that they would know. It is quite difficult. We're able to make do with certain substitutes.
Fair enough.
I doubt the town would be as big as it is if you were faltering with what you were working with.
The first one says, well, you get used to relying on mushrooms and the like.
Fair. Alright, I will see you. And I will head there.
That's one for a good suggestion on a place to get a drink.
Would be a little difficult. Especially with how rare it's been. It's unlikely you'll find many people who are willing to share.
Do you not have a tavern?
Well, we used to, but not anymore. We don't host outsiders. We don't host travelers. They say travelers. Because they're talking to a traveler. So we don't really host travelers anymore. It's the only safe way.
Is there no place for townspeople to go for merriment of one's company? Outside of their homes, of course.
I haven't got a particularly large share of the wine that came through. You could always ask him. Our house is towards the center and then down a ways, and then several blocks to the left.
Strange.
Yeah.
This town is like not a town, it's a bunch of houses.
Thinking out loud is strange. Feels like it'd be strange to try and talk to somebody about getting personal stock instead of from the store.
Ismark contributes, yes. Especially after what their burgomaster said about not troubling them.
I wonder if there will even be a place for us to rest.
Irina remarks, well, surely the Abbey won't turn us away, if nothing else.
This is definitely a good consideration.
Sounds like they're ready to me.
Sasha follows directions and roaming through town. It's not super thick, but every once in a while you like get the whiff of wine like from here and there.
Smell I've come to know well in these in this place.
Eventually, you come to a 2-story house that is made of wood. It's got a thatched roof, and outside it is a young woman who doesn't like look directly at you when you like get up, but you feel like she has noticed you, but doesn't like say anything. It's just kind of like a subtle shift. She's actually look.
I will say to her, excuse me, miss, is this your home?
She
And I'll pull my hood down.
very carefully, like she turns, but she doesn't look at you like full on. She's doing what I'm doing right now, and like she is looking at you, but she's still like tilted, and like she also shifts a little bit when you address her.
Slightly defensive stance.
Yeah.
And she says, yes? Who's asking?
My name is Sasha. I am a traveler. I was looking for a place to procure supplies. I had heard that the people who lived here might be amenable to some trade. I have coin. And other treasures as well.
She thinks for a moment and then says, I'll go ask. And she doesn't like change her axis, but she just like stand up slowly and like she moves inside the house. And you hear her ask, like somebody else, you hear an older man's voice go, what is it? There's a traveler. They're asking if they can buy things, supplies. You tell them no? No. From somewhere else. And they're also Vistani. You talking about Vistani again? No. He's right outside. I didn't see anything this time. I mean, I did, but it's real. They were both real. Hush, 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 hush. I'll go out. And then you hear like a bit of like a rattle, and then some footsteps, and then a man that is balding on top and holding a rusty, clearly the thing that you pull out of your garage because it was there when you bought it, scythe, and he holds it. In fact, he seems to take special care to not point it at you, despite the fact that he is still holding it.
Okay.
He's definitely on the thinner side. His clothes are kind of baggy.
So like a scythe or like a sickle?
A scythe.
Jeez.
Like a farming site.
Okay.
Yeah. There were farming implements before they were a
But
weapon.
it's super.
So it's a sickle, just a little more
It's
compact.
the best that he is got. As he says, hey, you're looking to buy something?
Yes, well met. I am Sasha. Me and my companions, although they are not here at the moment, have been traveling, and we are looking to spend some coin to acquire some supplies. I inquired about a general store, but they said that your place was the closest thing you had to one. If coin interests you, I also happen to have some very rare treasure, and if neither of those are of interest to you, I am a magister of no small skill. If there's any way I could perhaps barter my services to you, if there's anything that can be done that way.
Burgomaster know you're here?
Yes, he allowed us entry. We were the ones who, me and my companions were the one who...
Who told you to come here? What did he
I
look like?
do not know his name, and he looked like every other man holding a spear at the wall. But
What
if
kind
it
of
matters
supplies?
any, my companions and I were the ones who solved the troubles at the Wizards of Wine's winery, which is why your town has wine now. So if you doubt our capabilities, I assure you, put yourself at ease.
What kind of supplies were you looking for?
There are a number of supplies I'm looking for. Rations for the road. Or actually, I'll just say food for the road. Clean water. And I have a couple things of a more unusual variety I'm looking for.
I would have actually asked you about cinnamon and ginger.
Cinnamon and ginger.
Getting
Additionally,
cash for it.
I am looking for would you happen to have any inks?
I don't have anything like that.
No ink? Okay. How about raw steel or lead? Perhaps some out of character. I'm not sure what they would have called saltpeter back in the day. I think saltpeter was what it was called. But I'll ask him if he has supplies of saltpeter.
I can't think of anything else that would be called.
I'll describe it.
You describe it to the best of your ability, and you can pretty easily tell that like, he's not following, but he's doing his best to like pretend like he's following. Like he nods, he maintains eye contact. In fact, he very much so, to the point where he doesn't blink as much.
Perhaps I can show you. I'm looking for some of this, and I'm going to pull open the horn that has the gunpowder in it, and I'm going to show him. Have you seen any black ground powder like this? Or rocks of the same shade?
I'm afraid not. I don't know much about magic.
This is not magical nature, but it is rare. Okay, so they don't have fucking anything.
Oh, you're looking for more guns.
Food's hard to come by. Don't suppose you have anything maybe to trade?
That is not coin.
Yes.
I don't know this fucking gold if I can't spend it on anything.
I have a mishmash of supplies if you want to come back later.
I'm also going to switch over just for a minute, so if you want to strategize.
So weird.
Y'all go following directions. You come to a very large house. It is not like 2 stories, it's just the one, but it's fairly large, and you hear the sounds of like idle voices from around back. And when you go around back, you find there's a like large. It's kind of like a backyard in that it's like a clearing behind the house. And there's like a little bit of like wooden fencing. There are also some tables at which several old men sit and are talking. And there's one like very large, heavyset man who like sits with them just like at a different table but like at the edge.
Oh.
And they are talking, though they fall quiet as you all round the corner. The big guy, when you get within, I'm going to say 5 feet, standing up and like getting between you guys and the older man.
If we have to get that close to like climbing over the fence or something to get into their yard, probably shouldn't. Okay. I was like, probably shouldn't do that.
You can do this like without climbing or anything. This is just, we're here, we hear something, okay. Whatever. He steps between, he puts himself between like the old men and y'all, and says, excuse me, you don't get travelers very often. Might I ask you business? What you're doing in my yard?
What was the name of the gentleman whose house this was, supposedly?
Ivan is the
Ivan?
name you were given.
Okay. Hail and good day. The guards up front after we were let in, we were attempting to find a tavern to maybe sit down, rest from the outside, something to drink, maybe some food, and share amongst company of a new town. We were directed over to may potentially speak with Ivan as the next closest thing, as it was explained that your town does not have a tavern.
Not since, it feels so long ago now. A lot like yourselves were partial the reason for it.
Really?
Burned down. We don't get many travelers, so it didn't feel much sense in building it back again. Food is difficult to come by, as is trust. Though, if you were allowed in, it's unlikely that the burgomaster didn't give the okay.
He actually, the guards stopped us at the gate and they went to go get, they had called him the mayor, but I assume he was the burgomaster of the town, give him a description of him. He also seemed to have a rough look when he came to the gate at the beginning.
It's Dimitri, all right.
He had heard that we were the ones that assisted the Wizards of Wines with their supply problem and allowed us entry.
I don't know anything about that. I do know he's had a bit of a poor luck lately, but that's all I know about him.
There seems to be a lot of that going
I know all too well. In spite of this, it seems that my reputation as friendly and hospitable has finally come back around to bite me. What is it, well, you already said what it is you wished. Our supplies here are rare, given that it comes at the cost of safety, relatively. And he says that, like, giving a look over all of you. Though he does, like, do, like, the briefest of double takes, like, on Irina and Ismark, as they probably look more like them. So, okay, you guys, whatever. And tell me, what is it you would give in exchange, if you will pardon my briskness?
Not at all. We were asking for something. It'd be weird. It would be rude to ask for it for free, out of a stranger's pocket and out of his own personal hold. From what it sounds like, we have coin, and maybe not many supplies, but we do have odds and ends. If there is anything that may strike your fancy.
Odds and ends like what? There's an old man that takes this moment to cut in. He's bald except for like a wisp of like gray hair that like curls inwards, and he's like, "Hey, take some coins. Take some coins." And he turns. "I'm going to ask what they have, considering you never know where it came from." And he turns, but he's like, "No, but he's a traveler. You're a traveler, right? Right? You're not from around here. You might have something interesting. Special type of coin, maybe? Perhaps from far away?" The other two old men that flank him kind of just like groan and zone, but this man's interested. As as I was saying, the persons you're primarily dealing with, what do you have? I'm gonna pop over here, and then when I pop back to you, you can give a menu.
The girl is still inside the house, right?
Yeah.
I cast suggestion on him, and I suggest to him, you will trade me food for coin.
Okay, that's gonna work. I was gearing up to ask, like, are you really cool?
If the choice is that or starving to death. He can use coin. The next time the fucking wagons with wine come, you can trade it for wine.
Assuming that, like, somebody else doesn't buy it.
Well, now he has a chance to outbid that person. I'm not screwing him. He's being unreasonable not accepting coin. That's Sasha's opinion anyway. Obviously, there could be stuff out of character I don't know about.
Yeah.
Sasha knows that we need food, and I have nothing else to trade, so he's gonna have to accept this coin one way or the
Money
other.
and treasure.
I'm fucking Qui-Gon Jinning this shit. Just hope he's not fucking Watto.
Well, as I said, out of character, it's gonna work. And spoilers, it does totally work.
Well, he doesn't get a save. DC 17 Wisdom save.
No, it's
Okay.
gonna work.
Alright, fair enough.
It doesn't. I mean, well, okay. Actually,
You could roll
Unless he
really
has
high.
a negative for some reason.
Thought he has a -4.
I'm gonna roll it for fun. Like I'm gonna say
Oh,
like
wait, actually,
3 in 20 chance of something interesting happening. Versus what would
What happens
almost
if
likely
it
happen.
doesn't work?
I'll ask if you need to.
Oh, okay.
So it totally works.
Cool.
Out of curiosity, is this like verbal and somatic, or is it just verbal?
it's verbal. I just say it. So it looks like I'm mind tricking him just with no hand motion. I just say, you will trade me for coin. And then he's like, I will trade you for coin.
Mm.
Okay. It's 11 and 18 on my importance.
I assume so. Not one person is carrying around. We've kind of divvied up who's carrying treasure and stuff just randomly.
What do you mean? I have my coins. Everyone has their own coin pouch.
Treasures, jewels, and stuff that we haven't been able to trade.
I put them on my sheet, so I have them.
Worst case scenario, a little bit of backtracking.
Ask for some, but
Yeah. Later on, these guys might be interested.
But yeah, so yeah.
Coin will be acceptable.
Thank you. And I will buy rations from him. How much can he reasonably spare?
He'll say 10.
10 days worth? Okay. I will buy 10 days worth of rations. So 2 for each of us, basically.
Better than
Rations are...
The girl does, like... You do notice the girl, like, peeks through one of the windows when he, like, tells you that that coin will be fine. And then, like, goes back down.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm gonna look at how much rations are. And yeah, once I have it, I will thank him. And yes.
Yeah.
I will be on my way.
Try to find like an inventor or a tinkerer in town who might have
I
extra.
asked if there was
supplies.
anything like that. They said there wasn't. Every town we go to, except that first town. I swear to God, man.
If you are looking for anything foreign, unfortunately, draw a sword, put it on the ground. This is the only thing I have from the homeland. Anything else was unfortunately taken from my person earlier on in my travels.
I don't suppose you have any meat on you.
We have some rations, but unfortunately that is what we are in need of, considering the next closest place to potentially buy rations would be look to his mark. How far away is the next town? Roughly.
The next closest town, to my knowledge, would be Valaki.
Quite a ways away. Quite a ways away.
Yes. Though safe, I've heard.
Yes, I've heard the one running it is currently doing a good job.
Oh,
Quite well.
I wouldn't know that much about it.
We've gone around in our travels. We have, I suppose they could be considered treasures, jewels of a variety of sorts. Unfortunately, they are with our other companion that has gone in search of something close to a general
We're
sword.
not in need of much of that. What of, perhaps rope? Or wood? Perhaps cloth?
I do have rope. We do not have raw materials other than that you were looking for. Feels weird to start bringing them out, but I do have some small tankards of oil, all the bags of ball bearings if need be.
I'll take a look.
Isuvia, no need of caltrops.
He actually does stop and think. And he shudders. Maybe. Let's think about it.
If need
Go ahead
be, we can
Bring it out. But in the
talk
meantime,
later with less ears around, if that is a concern.
No. Just lost in thought. It happens from time to time. Perhaps a little too much wine. In the meantime, sit. suppose something can be spared, at least starting off. Maurice seems to be interested in you, at the very least, and he motions to the little guy who's like, yeah, move! And then, like, when the old guy's, like, slowly turns, looks at him, and, like, turns back.
So is
He
this
kinda
guy seem a bit
shoves.
younger than the guys he's like around? No.
If anything, he's older.
I mean the big guy that's.
Oh, the big guy? Yeah.
Okay.
He's probably, like, early 40s. As opposed to these other old men.
Okay. But these guys are old.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very old, just chilling. The guy, like, heads back into the house. As the...
I'll take that as an invitation to come on in.
Well, his compatriots aren't the fastest at cooperating. They are shoot away, and he says, so you're travelers, huh?
Right.
Tell me, do you have any foreign money?
I have some, though not much.
You see, I
Coin.
always like the idea of being a coin collector. You can't collect, you can't leave. Everybody called me foolish, crazy when you do such a thing, but they're travelers every now and again. They gotta come from somewhere.
You cannot leave?
Well, we don't leave. It's too dangerous. Wolves, dire wolves. Lord knows what else out there.
No offense, but I highly doubt you'd be able to hold much against direwolf if you have seen one.
Oh, definitely not. Definitely not. Especially with my leg now. Like I said, people come through sometimes, and if they can bargain their way past the gates, perhaps they have something. Perhaps they have something to be willing to trade. Now, he's getting a little something on good faith. But if you got some stuff from the outside, some coin from the outside, depending if I already have it or not, I'd be more than willing to extend my own credit to you.
I do have some coinage from my home,
All
if
right.
it may interest you.
Take it out. Let's see it, though.
It's not much. Take out like 8 copper from it, a silver, and a gold, because you start with a certain amount. Being a far traveler, it's like 5 gold, which I have 2 of like some silver and some copper.
He picks up the copper first and he's like, this is interesting. Some kind of... looks kind of like a wolf's head. With one eye. Where are you from?
Far north. Very north. To where it is mostly cold. With sun warmth through the year.
Far, far north.
It has been called the cold lands for a reason.
Never heard of them. You don't look that cold to me. And he like picks another one and starts inspecting it. You have finished up your business, obviously.
I would say to him, and that one more thing, I would like to speak to your doctor again.
He turns. Savan, come. There's a delay. Check this down the corner. Sidles carefully up to him. Still stays like behind him, but like a bit of an angle, so like she's still.
Excuse me, miss. I could not help but overhear. You have seen another of my kind, another Vistana? Come to this town?
She shakes her head. No.
Strange, I thought I overheard you say such a thing. Okay, that's
I
not
think you're mistaken. The man says, yes. I believe you are. The both of you.
Hold on.
Don't forget
gonna pick that up.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I will say to her, we are both mistaken. What do you mean?
She's had claimed before that she saw somebody in the night. But ain't nobody gets in here without permission. Nothing gets past the guards. I know for a fact that nobody's been let in. Except for you. The delivery a few days back.
Well, perhaps it was something that she did see. Still, I'd like to know what this vision you saw looked like. I am a mage, perhaps it means something.
She says, no vision, nothing, just a trick of the eye. Like my father says.
Right. I can't cast detect thoughts, because they'll fucking cast a spell.
Will they? Is it that obvious? I thought it was just taken out
I
of
have to say magic words.
Oh.
Well, you were likely aware that there are little nerfs around you, being a traveler, and an adventurer, and a mage, and perhaps even a Vistani, depending. So perhaps you could use that to your advantage.
That's true.
The man especially is trying to get done with you as quickly and
I will
smoothly
say,
as possible.
I do not mean to intrude upon you, but you see, I've actually been looking for another one like myself. It's very important that I find them. I have decent reason to believe they came this way, and I'm sure you do not want them around. Especially if I may guess that this Ristana you saw was a woman, yes?
That's only what I thought I saw.
What did she look like?
It was dark. I couldn't tell.
I'll start describing her to see if it jogs her memory. Because I got an image of her in my head from when I read his mind. Not Luvash, Argyle. When I read Argyle's mind, I got a description of her. So I'll start describing her to this woman and see if that jogs her memory.
I couldn't really say. It was dark. It was maybe 10 days ago. It was.
Cool.
If I saw anything at all.
10 days ago.
It's likely you didn't.
Well,
Nobody gets in here. Somebody else would have seen her if she was.
we came across Argyle that was looking for her, and then we went to the keep, which was a few days away, and then we went from the
It
keep
could have been.
to
It
here.
could have been after Argyle. Yeah. Is there a place in town no one goes?
She looks to her father, seemingly to test if it's cool, and he kind of he looks back, but he doesn't shake. He doesn't shake his head or anything. After a couple moments, she says, "Well, the Abbey."
Thank you. Alright. You two have a nice evening. I will pull my hood up
He nods.
as I will turn and leave and head to where these guys are.
You take the leap. You stroll. You stroll.
Mark a gold off for your 2 rations. And add 2 rations. And I guess I'll pay for this market arena because they're a bunch of freeloading bums. I'm joking.
I was trying to remember if I clarified if they had money of their own with them.
Earlier on,
I think
it
I
was
said
claimed
no.
that they said they basically spent all their money
That's
getting their
what I
starting
think
supplies.
happened. So
Because I asked them if they could add in any for the horses, and they were like, no. And it was like, dope.
while inspecting the gold one, he says, "This is a really weird plant." And he very leads it over for you to see. What is this?
Is it the tree? Or
No. You know that's a sprig of holly, but he doesn't.
ah,
Now I just say, what is this?
that is a plant called holly. Insert the actual name for it because I actually forget what the actual name of holly is.
Does it ward off evil?
In a matter of sense, I've been told there are those that can use it in some magics. I do not have the hands or the mind for magic. I have also been told by someone who is close at home that it can be used. It can be used to make tinctures for harm, but that is their part of the tale.
So it's
That is-
poisonous?
It is it is the only thing that can harm the immortal warrior.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Seems very poisonous.
It is not because it was poisonous that it was deadly to him. It is simply because it did not promise to not hurt him. His mother, seeing her son when he was born, went around to all living things and got their blessings about her child. Another one of their relatives, trickster by the name of any other names, managed to convince her that there is no reason to ask for the blessing of the holly. It is such a harmless plant. At worst, you might get a stomachache from its berries. That is it. Then there was someone that took the plant and crafted arrows from it, and used it to greatly harm the warrior.
What a trick.
He is devious, but necessary. It is among the order and the circle of all things. There's also tales of those using it to convince those to gain affection from others.
You don't say. Interesting. By this time, you've both been given, it's not a normal wine glass in that it's, deeper and stouter, but it's still, a wine glass, that it has a stem and everything.
Huh.
So it's got, a bit of a stem, and then, it's got glass. So you're not given, a small sample of wine, but still not, a tankard or anything like that.
Okay.
And you were each given a biscuit that smells maybe a little ripe. It's kind of crumbly, but
So it's more of a scone, really.
tastes okay. I guess
Kind of like an out
if I
of
were
date
willing
biscuit.
to say scone,
Um,
I refuse.
if you do not mind me asking, did your town always have an aversion to adventurers, or did that only come about in the last batch that I've been told came through?
Oh, it's been this way for quite some time. There have been plenty like you who've come through. Some coming through saying that they're going to slay the devil and free this place once and for all.
Bitch, I
I've heard from them again. And then, of course, there are others that come rubbing their hands together, asking this and that about our defenses and our resources. Never saw them again either. In fact, we've seen people that run the gamut, from heroes to villains to just smelly. You should have seen these few. There were 3 large, I want to call them men, but their teeth were awfully sharp for it. Their eyes awfully narrow, covered in blood, banging on the door, shouting for a bed and a woman each. It was quite ridiculous and smelled to high heaven.
How long ago?
Oh, this was maybe 20, 30 years ago.
See, in my head I was thinking, vampires or maybe some type of ghoul? Maybe?
There were those crazy naked barbarian men who ambushed us on the road.
I don't think they had sharp teeth.
They might. They could file it down because they're badasses.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
There were people in real life who did that shit.
Hmm.
Filed their teeth down to be all sharp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is your town to enjoy the merriment and presence of others' company outside of their homes if you do not have a tavern? That is usually the purpose of it, if not to entertain travelers.
Anybody who manages to talk their way in, or force their way in, if they've got the daring, usually gets pointed towards the abbey.
I feel like the book is trying to tell us something.
Go to the abbey. Who's the practitioner of the abbey?
Oh.
I know it's not the right word, but I can't.
You know,
remember the right word.
You're looking for father, or minister, or...
Minister, the person who runs it. It's just trying to be general about it.
pastor,
he
priest.
he
Padre.
strokes his chin, attempting to recall the name as I confirm.
Grand Poobah.
The Grand Poobah with the mightiest of horns upon his head.
Ah,
Just saying.
you know, I can't likely recall. People just refer to him as the abbot.
Would you say he is good?
I'd say so. People seem to trust him well enough.
Hmm.
Well, he's been here a while. Hasn't aged a day since he came through here, which normally would be cause for suspicion, but nobody's talked about grabbing pitchforks and storming the place, and I can understand why. But it seems like if there's anything to fear from the abbey, it's not from him.
But the Frankenbride was in the abbey. Wasn't it?
An abbey. But this one's in
No,
the
but at
mountain.
the time,
Huh.
I determined to the
more
best of my
chuckle
ability.
I'm more chuckle from the chorus, the abbey? Well, an abbey.
But at the time, I determined that it was probably this abbey, right? I distinctly remember
That
being
sounds
like, yeah.
Huh.
Like, with your
Yeah.
guesswork, there aren't a whole lot of other places. I think at the time you were like, well, we're already in Valaki.
I'm immediately
Didn't see
hella
that.
suspicious of this
Yeah,
abbot.
yeah. Well, out of character. Oh yeah, good character. Sounds odd.
Perhaps it's the grace of the Morning Lord that keeps him the way he is.
He's a worshiper of that one.
Yes.
The last priest we came across was a good man. He was also a follower of him, Father Lucian. Good man.
Glad to hear it's not just us. Sometimes I wonder if we're the last city left. 'Cause I wouldn't know otherwise.
Last city left.
Yes. In here. I know that places like Barovia and Valaki exist because they're on our maps, but you never know.
Well, we have gone through both of them in our travels. They are still standing.
Ah. Well, that's good. This place, you never know.
What of the travelers that came through? Were they particularly odd? Any?
Oh, which
myself.
ones? Let me tell you, we've had plenty over the years. Had a whole group of women, very beautiful, wearing these silver robes and long veils. Really something. I was always hoping that maybe they'd come back. It's been 60 years now.
Question: have you ever mentioned around our group that you're looking for your master, or has that always been like
No.
solitude?
I've never mentioned anything about my master.
Okay, just making sure.
He
Okay.
goes down
Yay.
through the more noteworthy, at least according to him, times where he remembers travelers coming through. He's in the middle of telling you about a night his dog and a girl, maybe about the age of 10, didn't make a whole lot of sense to him, but well, the guy was silver-tongued enough when, like,
Wait, what?
You make your way. Or rather, you, like, get there.
I have some
You
supplies.
hear voices, and like, maybe, and then you go around, like, you see them. There's, like, a man who, like, imposes himself between you and, like, some other people, but then, like, there's some eye shot and, like, a wave from Ismark, and the guy, like, moves to allow you by.
Yes. I have gotten us some supplies and determined our next course of action. I believe the woman that Aragal is looking for is at the Abbey. And we should go there.
From our discussions, that also may be the only place we potentially could get back.
Likely so.
Plus, there is the matter of that symbol.
Ah,
Will have to be dealt with at the Abbey.
yes.
Symbol. You got a symbol, huh?
Oh, it's nothing. Thank you for your hospitality.
Oh no. And he points to, like, the guy who originally...
Well, thank you for your
Sorry.
hospitality, sir.
Hey,
If by the time he comes back, was it just one glass per person? Or was he like...
that's what you got, like, to start.
okay.
He's willing to take, like, all three of, like, the sample coins that you gave him, like the older guy, Maurice, in exchange for a certain amount, depending on the ratio of food to wine that you want.
I get it. Well, I mean, if anything, at least get him a glass.
I'm fine.
Are you sure?
I'm sure. I'm sick of wine.
You
You've come to
perchance-
the wrong place!
You perchance wouldn't happen to have white, would you? I remember. I remember.
Not gonna have my wine.
Well, we should, because we got a delivery, but... actually, for quite some time they haven't delivered any of the real good stuff. Don't know why.
Mostly just Dragon Crush and Supreme.
Yes.
If I ever get out of here, I'm gonna get a fucking gallon of whiskey and just drink it. Fucking
Well,
Were times better, I'd recommend you try to shake down the Burgomaster for some, but if you were in the mood, he definitely wouldn't be these days.
what is wrong? He did seem dour when we spoke with him. Or spoke to him.
if that is not just his normal temperament.
No, it's not. Though this land does have that effect on people.
I've
No,
noticed.
he and his family suffered a bit of bad luck. The streak of it. Very recently, they lost their last child.
Oh, how old?
10.
Young.
Very.
How unfortunate.
Their youngest.
How many did they have before?
Feels like rubbing salt in his wounds even though he's not here, but I think they had at least 5 children.
And they all died? Shit.
Very tragic. But that happens. Even in a place as safe as this.
That is quite odd. This is rare for even one child to die past. Infant.
Not
infancy.
here.
The cold lands must be more hospitable. If I could imagine a place covered in ice being so. Not that I haven't made peace with my lot. As long as you stay out of people's way. It's nice enough here.
As long as you are friendly with the inhabitants there, you are welcomed with open arms.
Well, while it is a terrible fate that befell the child, there's nothing we can do about it.
True. We have taken up quite a bit of your time, and you get the feeling you want to get back to the discussion you were having before we showed up.
Oh. I got nothing but time these days. Think nothing of it.
Then perhaps we can talk later.
Perhaps.
Before we leave, yes.
If you just took the gold, then I'll take back the silver and copper.
And you look you're travelers and you are armed, so maybe it might not make a difference. But Careful not to be out at night. It can be dangerous sometimes.
On the streets or out of town?
The streets.
Strange.
Well,
It hasn't been dangerous for a while, but just in case.
We'll keep such in mind. Let's go up to. Alright, so now that that is done with, I'll hand everyone their rations and let's go. How far is the abbey? Because I'll summon my horse if it's more than like a short walk.
I mean, it is more than a short walk.
Right.
It's not super far, but it is long enough to justify
My magic
riding
horse.
if you want to. Yes. There are people that like look and then quickly continue minding their own business after looking.
Yeah, that's right. You're all mad jelly of my magic horse. God, being a wizard is so good.
Begin your trot through town.
You all have horses too.
Well,
Mine's just magic.
you begin your trot or walk, depending. And on the way towards the abbey, it just as a result of the street that you're on, you're like going like a little, like kind of through some part of town like you hadn't been through.
so the abbey is built on the outskirts of town, or is it technically out of the town?
It's like up a little bit on like some mountains, like towards the end. Like
Okay.
it's still attached.
Right.
Huh.
It's like a little.
Alright.
And you pass by a large body of water that looks different in that its shiny, glimmery self sticks out from the natural air of Barovia. It's very nice. Even under gray skies, this pool at the northern end of the village shimmers and sparkles.
Oh.
Near its shore sits an old gazebo on the verge of collapse.
I roll for initiative.
It hasn't spotted you yet. You have a chance to do something that won't result in your death.
David, I am a fire mage. I'm as prepared for this as I've ever been.
That's fair. That's fair.
I'm sorry.
I have no idea the fucking
As you are about to roll for initiative, you notice that there's a wooden statue of a mournful, bare-chested man. Its paint chipped and faded, standing in the gazebo with arms outstretched, as though waiting to be embraced.
Huh. When you say that the pool sparkles, does like it sparkle with like
fish?
with like magic sparkling, or like is it clearly not normal?
It is unlike any other body of water that you have approached
Then I
or
will
seen.
definitely get off the horse, approach it, and cast detect magic.
It's eye-catching enough that you're like, oh, hey.
Well, it's eye catching enough that Sahar turns.
Well, it's also
Technically.
it's shimmering and glowing with no sun.
You almost feel it, one might say. And as you dismount, you approach and cast Detect Magic.
Yeah.
You find that this is magical, but in a very holy way.
This is all holy water.
Is it blessed?
Yes, but it's more complex than that. You're not.
So if I scoop it out, it won't count as holy water.
No. You get like a more healthy, restorative vibe from it, but it's still kind of weird. Weird in a
cast
good way,
Identify?
like not in a bad way. You could take
Okay.
some time.
I'll
though.
literally cast Identify on the water.
You like start doing that. I'm gonna fumble for something that I thought was in a good place, but it was not.
I guess I'll start, while he's doing that, since it takes about 10 minutes, start looking over the gazebo and the statue.
No, something's gonna happen. I mean, you can look at the gazebo of the statue. That's totally fine.
Zidinja anakampa, zidinja kyakampa, maskin zul, dinja zul.
In
I mean, you
fact,
assume you're doing that near the gazebo, so.
I'm standing right by the water. Because I
Yeah.
have to be basically in contact of it, so.
this fool's just Okay, I found what I was looking for. You, as you were casting, look, and could I get an intelligence check from you, real quick?
Oh. Okay.
You look at it and you're like,
From the gazebo?
17?
You're looking at it and you're like, God, this feels familiar. And you're like, because you're looking not just you're looking at the gazebo, but you're also looking at the statue. And as you really squint and start to get in there, you're you suddenly remember where you've seen this and why it seems familiar. Because you've seen another statue. It wasn't in the same pose, and it was of stone instead.
Oh my god.
But this is a carving, you believe, of Sergei.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because you're looking.
I mean, what other fucking statues have we seen?
Yeah, from the tomb. That's kind of
Because that was the one with the angels in his tomb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as you're casting it, something else happens. In that, almost unconsciously, Irina moves to look at the water itself, and an image appears in the sparkling blue water. It is a handsome youth of kind and noble visage. Actually, I shouldn't have put it that way, because you know what Sergei looks like.
Right, Sergei appears in the water.
See, you were picking up your hand, I thought just starts pushing Sasha into the place.
The image calls out to her. It shouts, Tatiana, it's been so long. Come, my love. Let us be together at last. Irina, quite appropriately, gasps and puts a hand on her heart and moves back for a little bit. And then gets a faraway look in her eyes that you've never seen before, as she half murmurs, but in great stereo quality, because you can all hear it. My beloved Sergei. In life, you were a prince and a man of faith. We were to be married long ago. Has this blessed pool called your spirit to me? She then reaches very slowly towards the water, and as you're looking, the water comes together and starts to form a watery hand that starts.
Okay, so I'm at the surface of the water, right? Is she near me?
Yeah, you're next to her, and
Okay,
you're
then
looking at the statue.
We'll grab her and pull her back.
You grab and you jerk her and see. She
No,
catches
Irina,
herself
what are you doing?
after you do that. She almost falls, but then catches herself and kind of snaps to. I'm looking at the wrong thing. There we go. You do so, and she looks to you, and she looks to the watery hand that quickly starts to lose form and returns back to the water, and she spares another look at you, and then to the water. What was that?
Don't know. Some sort of magic of some kind.
Was that really him?
Cannot say. Did you remember him?
I did.
Your memories of your past life?
I think so, but
You have a theory
it's
that...
fair to call it that.
Yeah.
I knew it in my heart beyond anything.
Strange.
Your theory of souls not being able to pass on. Mayhap they could also be trapped within a certain area. But his soul trapped in this lake. There's a statue of him here. Maybe it is one of the last things standing that was a representation and not offering praise to him.
Now, out of character, as you were using Identify, nothing's coming up that would give, like, the vibes of, let's say, like, illusions or anything. As you were focusing, you're like, what is it? Okay, it's some kind of, like, divine, or, like, cool, some kind of restorative thing. Okay, that's pretty cool. Some kind of restoration. And that's when you got, like, when you had to, like, stop. So...
I should finish my spell. You should perhaps stay back a bit, just in case it tries to grab you again. We do not know what it tends to do.
You should also stay away from the statue, just in case.
Irina says, yes. There's a moment where she doesn't move, and Ismark, like, comes up and softly, like, puts his hands on her shoulders and, like, pulls her back a few feet.
I will go back to
She kind of looks at him.
casting Identify.
I'll just stand next to him while it's going on, like, prepared, basically.
You're able to finish
if something happens.
In that you're getting the same kind of vibe from this water as you would from a spell of lesser restoration.
So I think if I drank it, it'd be lesser restoration, basically.
Yeah.
I wonder with that...
Then what the fuck is with the hand?
I wonder if it would have a different effect on Irina. Huh.
I cast an augury. What would happen if Irina went with the hand? Wheel, low, both, or neither?
You get the spell equivalent of, like, the answer almost cutting you off in the middle of your question. Whoa. Like, you're in the middle of casting it. Just, whoa.
Okay.
So, not good?
Yeah, what was bad?
Okay.
That's strange. We should leave this place. Let us continue where we were going.
As we're going up
The
path,
Parinus
we
is
should.
nothing, but Ismark, like, gently guides her, and she starts to walk on her own after, like, the first couple of steps.
Fuck.
We should definitely keep an eye on her, like, throughout the night and while we're within the vicinity of that lake. Don't want her getting, like, up in the middle of the night to fucking go.
Well, this is, like, still in town. If you
Right.
stay at the Abbey, she'd have to, like, do a lot of walking. The road from the village climbs above the mist to the wide ledge on which the Abbey is perched. A light dusting of snow covers the trees and the rocky earth. The gravel road passes between two small stone outbuildings to either side, which stretches a 5-foot-high, 3-foot-thick wall of jumbled stones held together with mortar. Blocking the road are iron gates attached to the outbuildings by rusty hinges. They appear to be unlocked. Viewed through the gates, the stone abbey stands quiet. Its two wings are joined by a 15-foot-high curtain wall. A belfry protrudes from the rooftop of the closer north wing, which also sports a chimney billowing gray smoke. Naturally, Ismark and Irina follow you
Let's head up.
as you
Alright, let's head in.
Or at least knock. See. Unless the doors are open when we get up there? Because I mean, it's the middle of the day and it's an abbey, so...
sounding illogically. You. You push the gate open, or the gate's
If it's
unlocked.
closed, then yeah.
Well, there's a gate, and then there's the rest of the stuff. Just curious because I'm going to describe somebody, and somebody is you. Pushing the gate open. It appeared to be unlocked, and it was, though it squeaks quite loudly when you open it. And said squeak also results in footsteps that come your way, quite hurriedly. Very quickly, there are two people that come into your view. One is a humanoid that walks like with a hunch and appears to have like a canine snout, like here upon his face, and he's got like a single like dogged ear that flaps as he does so, and you can see like a tail like that sways like out from behind him as like he moves with the shovel. He also has a shovel in hand that's like kind of not like a crutch, like he's not walking as if he's injured, but he does kind of step pump, and he's also, you can see, got, in addition to like some tatters of like green rags on him, like his feet are shaped like a dog's paws, but like bent and angled a little bit so he could stand upright, if maybe not as well as a normal human being. The other figure is wearing like this gray ripped up cloak and does not walk with a hunch and is not like holding anything when they approach. The first one that I described is the first one like on the scene as he moves up and like gets like close to you and like eyes like
Like how close?
who goes like super close, like within an inch as he like eye to eyes you real quick. Not real quick, it lingers as he then like draws back. It's like who be you? Who be you and where do you come?
We are travelers, and we have come to see the Abbey, hoping to rest for the night.
The town informed us this may be the only place to go for bed.
Rest for the night. Travelers, rest.
I would also like to speak to the Abbot, if he is available.
Come with me.
And one more question. Have you seen a woman here, a Vistana?
Maybe.
Is that the same fucking guy that Sahar saw when he went through the portal?
Is it?
One who's talking to you, no. But the one who's not talking, kinda. Like that one had like gray ripped up cloth. But that one, like, his face was exposed. This one's not. It's kind of
Right.
can't be the same guy. Can't be.
Sounds like a foolproof disguise to me.
Can't be at all. You are led.
Cloak of the No-Face.
You are led into the larger area and then towards the actual entrance, the Abbey proper. There's a 15-foot high curtain wall that, as mentioned earlier, joins the Abbey's two wings. Behind its battlements, there's nobody because the people are already there with you. And you are then led in through a couple of large wooden doors that are kind of scratched up and chipped. That's probably just from age. And then the one who's been talkative so far turns and says, the abbot may be studying. I will go get him.
Thank you. Thank you. You are?
I am Otto.
Thank you, Otto.
Who are you?
Siguror.
Oh! Who are Ismark. And everybody goes, Irina. And you're like, and he makes his exit. The one in the cloak stays, but doesn't like address you or anything. Now you're currently in a room that is modestly furnished, in addition to having several doors that are leading out of this room, one of which Otto went through. And there is also a tarnished copper plaque mounted on a wall to your guys' left. There's also a time-eaten wooden, not stool. It's a wooden bench, like to your guys' left.
Does this place seem to be in like disarray? Or just like poor maintenance?
It seems closer to being time-worn.
Right.
But like it's not being upkept, like as well as it could be.
Maybe it could be taken a little better care of.
Alright, well,
But it's still
I'll wait until he gets
it's
back.
still a decent living space. You wait for Otto's return, which is as good a time as any to take a break. And we return. And in due time, so does Otto. Though it is worth noting that while you are waiting, the person that has been left behind with you doesn't make conversation, and every once in a while shifts uncomfortably. But otherwise does not address or look at you, at least not directly.
I suppose while we wait, are you two the only assistants to the abbot?
No.
They're not talking.
Okay.
In roughly 15 minutes, Otto returns with a tall man with golden blonde hair and very fair, fine features. He wears a black outfit that is cuffed with silver buttons, and while there's some muck about them, some fairly nice looking shoes. He strides forward and says, more travelers. How very interesting. May I be the first to extend the full courtesy and welcome to St. Maricove's Abbey to you. Tell me, whom might I be speaking with?
I am Sasha. These are my commandments.
Crack.
Siguror.
Sasha, Crack, Siguror, and they introduce themselves like in the window that was given to me. It's Ismark and Irina.
Oh, I look.
I'm charmed to make your acquaintance. Tell me, what has brought you here?
We came seeking something. And the place to sleep. Is anyone else staying at the Abbey at the moment?
Why, yes. There's a lovely Vistani woman who happened to come in, I would say, about 8 days ago.
Huh. What is she?
I can show you if you would like.
I would.
In fact, it is the place where I would have you all stay as well.
Thank you. The town did not seem to have a place for travelers.
Ah, yes. They're quite fearful of the evil without, and with good reason. It would seem that that fiend has made himself quite unassailable in the minds of the villagers, nay, everyone in this land, though it need not be so. He starts guiding you.
There.
You are passing. You pass through.
I do mention that when he says the fee is unsaleable in the town. Mayor?
Heavens no! Don't you know? This land is ruled over by a vicious, terrible vampire.
Yes.
The local legend has built him up to be much more. Perhaps it is somewhat deserved.
Apologies. Experiences brought an idea to mind that glad to see it's not true.
As I was saying, and he leads you, if I can stop fumbling with the map, leads you out into another, like, sparsely decorated room, but, like, you're not, like, staying, because he's moving at a pretty good clip, through another door that's, like, within range. Though it need not be so. It's been built up and seems unassailable, and given how entrenched he is, and the types of people who have thus far allowed him to take even further root like a rotted tree in this place, definitely make matters much worse for all the other poor souls that attempt to live when he passes through a door. You're heading through what appears to be a garden of some kind. It's nestled, like, it's difficult to see, but if we zoom back the camera and metagame for a bit, it's nestled between, like, some plunging cliffs, and there are 4 rectangular, like, plots of greenery that are enclosed by, like, a 5-foot wall of mortared stones that you're going to pass by instead of through. Mm-hmm. There are 2 lifeless scarecrows stuffed and with the sackcloth heads that hang on wooden crosses that are pounded into the cold earth that are within them.
I distorted scarecrows. I don't trust them. Okay.
As he moves by, it is fortunate, however, if not for some of those that wish complacency, then for those that wish to be out from under the boot heel of this oppressive monster, that I've come up with a way of freeing this land once and for all.
Have you?
There's another door, and you're like crossing over the threshold.
He seems oddly open with people he's just come across.
If he says festival, I'm gonna punch him in the face.
I see what it's. You are entering. You're passing through a very large hall. There's gentle music that trickles down from above, played on a single stringed instrument by some unseen musician. The ground floor is one large 50-foot square room with arched leaded glass windows. There's a cauldron that sits on an iron rack above a fire and a hearth, while above the fireplace mantle hangs a golden disc engraved with the symbol of the sun.
Oh, I want that disc.
In one corner, there's a wooden staircase that appears to climb to an upper level, though that is not the staircase that you will be taking. You also pass by a staircase that descends downwards. You are crossing through another threshold and another door, as he's saying, yes, it is quite simple. You see, it is not weaponry and it is not force or violence that shall slay the beast, but love. A very unique light switch. Is that an in-character what, or is that an out-of-character what?
That is an out-of-character what, but I will note that Sasha's face immediately is like, oh shit. Because he, being way smarter than I am, probably came to the same realization that I did.
You saw the bride and,
He's building a corpse bride?
As you move past the threshold, he continues to elaborate. You see, it is love that he is devoid of, and love that destroys hatred, as one as learned as myself would know. In fact, anyone learned of the scriptures at all knows that violence only solves the problem every so often, but it is truly love and forgiveness that sows the seeds of a better future. I have taken it upon myself to find the fiend a fitting bride, and in no small amount of time, the curse shall be lifted.
This guy's fucking crazy.
Irina, at this point, like, Irina gives, like, a nervous look, and Ismark gives, like, another nervous but also searching look
Yes.
at the group. I don't know what to do, and I don't know what's going on here.
Mark keeps a calm, placid face. Out of
He-
character.
Lead you through yet more of the structure. You think you're near maybe like the halfway point that you saw from the outside by now. As he continues to explain, it's been going a little so-so. Unfortunately, she is, how can I put it, taking a little slowly to the finer graces that someone like Strahd must have been used to in life. And I feel that even death, even his curse, has not dulled his senses so much that he will accept an unrefined partner. But just today we made quite the breakthrough with which fork and which knife accompany best. Which delicacy was it? And like you get to some stairs that he like starts moving up.
This guy's batshit.
No, it's very important. It's very important. You're travelers. Well, any casting look over your shoulder, you may know. I don't know how much you know about. And he turns as he like continues walking up these wooden stairs. There is a very, very popular Barovian delicacy. At least it was popular. I don't think anyone's had it in quite some time, given that a lot of people aren't left with much to afford because of said tyrant. But it's very important. No doubt he will expect to dine in such a fashion once the curse has been broken and all's been returned rightly. And she must reciprocate. And she will. Actually, as he reaches like the top of the stairs, and you are now like in this wooden, not an attic, but it kind of feels like it because there are posts, and there are also some bunk beds, a bunch of which have kind of disintegrated with age. There are some that are not disintegrated, but clearly moldy from the smell that hit you first, and then like you also see. And there's also up here a woman like at the scraps of maybe what was a table once, but it's flat enough that has like some paper on it. She's like contemplatively like holding like a hatchet to her chin and like thinking, it appears, as
A hatchet?
as he is proclaiming about how she actually took exceptionally well. I'm quite proud of this. You see, you have to find the right kind of mind for it's an advanced, not advanced, because you know how it is. Sometimes royalty puts themselves on a pedestal. But there is a type of speech commonly used by the nobility, a type of old slang that nobody under 100 would know even existed. But with how well read I am, and exactly having the hand exactly for the type of mind that would be good at such things, I picked someone that picked up on that in an instant. And really, that would have been the hardest part, were anyone but myself to have been handling the task. But you probably don't want to hear me prattle on all day. It appears that we are here. As said, you will have some company. The woman looks very quickly, like scans over like the rest of you, and
Is she the
then
woman?
nods. Yes. She's got black hair, some bright clothing. She's quite obviously armed, not just from like the hand, but you can see like she's got some other shit on her in the way that out of character, like, well, actually no, since you work with wizards, you've probably seen other adventurers too, as have you guys more or less, in the way that only an adventurer does. She nods, but she doesn't say anything, as he says, you will have some roommates who will be staying with you. I was just telling them about my project, you remember, and she... Yes. Your project. I remember. It's like, yes, of course you do. Oh, I left her waiting in the middle of a lesson. You'll have to excuse me. Here we are. I would recommend being careful if you walk around here without escort. I am busy most of the time, so I've got a curse to break and a monster to show love. Not directly, of course. Make yourselves comfortable, be safe, and if there's anything that you need, I would ask either Otto or...
I have a question, actually. The mayor's son is deceased. You are a priest. Are you not capable of attending to this?
Their son is deceased?
Yes.
I had no knowledge of this.
Earlier in the day we had...
His last son.
Yes.
A boy of 10 years old.
Their youngest.
How unfortunate. I am busy at the moment, but perhaps I should see if I could do something about that.
If you could, I assure you they would be very thankful.
Well, thank you for sharing. Now, if you will excuse me.
What is the name of your other assistant? It is Otto that we have met, and...
It is Otto, and he does not stall, but I will.
Fucking crazy fuck.
Otto and Siegfried.
Siegfried does not seem very talkative.
Yes, it is unfortunate. Perhaps a symptom of the specific madness that she suffers. A terrible and unfortunate tragedy. One of many that lay here, regretfully.
Perhaps if we get a chance we can talk more later, as you seem to be busy.
We could. I'm not sure if we should. I mean, no offense, but
In
it
general.
would take someone of quite significant divine sense to right the wrongs that have been here. Speaking of which, good day. He turns
Once he leaves,
Yeah, as soon as he gets out of the door.
and
I...
marches
I
down.
was going
I'm
to
not
immediately
gonna-
turn to you.
Oh, hold on.
Okay.
The first thing I do is, as he's talking to that, I sit down in front of this Vistani woman across the table.
You sit down. She's
And
currently
once
looking at a
he
map.
leaves, I will say to her, you know Argyle is looking for you, and he will not hesitate to kill you to get back what this is.
What I do is more important than worrying about him. Or you, if you're here to expose me.
I do not even know who you are, only that you are a horse thief.
Do we really have...
Half a horse thief. I released them, and hopefully they'll find their way back. It was unnecessary, I'm afraid. Travel is not only dangerous, but difficult on foot in these lands.
Yes, they are.
Time is of the essence.
What is your purpose here?
My purpose, though I would not let the abbot know, my purpose is to slay Strahd von Zarvich. I believe that my master has come here on a similar goal.
Your master.
Yes. I'd
Who
hope
is
to
your
find
master?
him. Well, you seem well-traveled. Perhaps you may have heard of him. The famous monster slayer, Rudolf van Richten. I have it on good authority that he came to these lands seeking Strahd's head, but
We have found
he
him.
hides his...
has aided us as well.
Have you? Have you?
Madame Ava has foretold that he is to be our ally against the darkness.
Hmm.
He spoke of another Vistani, but refused to speak of it further. He does not know you are here, and I believe he wishes that you did not come.
Well, that comes as no surprise. Considering the last time we left. It was not on the best of terms. He's not the easiest to work with, though likely you already know that yourself.
Ah, yes, I am aware.
Well,
Ezek seems to be enjoying his time with him.
Yes, well, Ezek was not nearly eaten by his Vistani-eating tiger. So I think he has gotten off fairly easily, all things considered.
Vistani eating tiger?
Yes, well, you should have a talk with your master about some of his methods. Does he not know that it is pointless? I've explained to him that there are women and children in that camp. He says he can train a beast to detect the difference between good and evil Vistana.
Very curious. Somehow I'm not surprised, but surprised all at once. Now I am intensely curious. Who are you? You've already told me you've seen Madame Ava. That is very interesting. She's predicted you will slay Strahd and that my master will help you do so. But what of you? How long have you been here?
I would say 2 months now. Out of character. I think that's a pretty good estimate, right? Like 2 months?
If not 2 months longer.
I think 2 months is about accurate.
Ballpark.
I will say we have been here for 2 months. We went to Death House. It's in character known as Death House, right? Like that?
That's one of the names for it.
Okay, yeah. We burned it down. Then we met with these two.
She gives you a confused look. Says, did you?
Yes.
There was great evil around that.
Yes.
Then perhaps I'm mistaken.
What do you mean?
Well, having been born here and been to Barovia before, I know of the house you speak, and the last time I was there, it was still there.
When was that?
A while ago, I would say maybe a month and a half.
It
What
grew
the
back.
This is most unsettling.
It was when I went to assail Strahd's castle, or rather, to gain information. It did not bear as much fruit as I had hoped,
Yes, well,
which is why I'm here.
next time I will burn it and salt the earth it comes upon, so it does not regrow again. But that is no matter. We came across these two. This woman here, Irina. She is, we believe, and I'm gonna low whisper, she is the one Strahd is after. I believe she is the reincarnation of Tatiana, his first love. The thing that drove him to become what he is. He will stop at nothing to get her back.
I know vaguely of you. She says directly to Irina. I know vaguely of you. And you as well. She points to Dismark.
Many things have happened since then. A riot at Valaki. A battle with a group of druids, the Wizards of Wines, and later at their vampiric tree.
Sounds like you have quite a tale to tell.
Yes.
From our newest encounter, I do not know if I prefer the Mayor of Valaki. From what he speaks.
Yes, well, the Mayor of Valaki did not build a corpse bride out of some sort of foolish...
No, that's what I'm saying. That I prefer. I think I prefer the company of the mayor compared to this fucking.
Well, then I'm saying in an agreement.
Bongo.
He did not build a corpse bride, so I am inclined to agree. I would accept any number of festivals over that horror.
Dismark nods, and she, person you're talking to, this? Did he describe it then? So far, he's only mentioned it to me faintly.
When
I
we
know that
were
what you
in-
say is true,
When we were in the Devil's Castle,
I suspect.
we found a sort of teleportation device.
You've been there?
Yes. Irina she willingly went with him to save all of our lives. Well, all of us except for one. We had the priestess with us. She is no longer.
My condolences.
We broke in, managed to save her and escape, and he is after us harder than ever. Although at the moment he is currently after his tome.
His tone.
Which, now that you mention that, would she really have need to worry of Argyle?
What tone do you speak of?
You may or may not. There's a tome he had written from when he was alive. It tells of the deeds he did. Killing his brother. As Tatiana drew herself from the castle wall. Of his murder by his own guards and his current state. It speaks of a dark power that he made a pact with to become what he is. I have reason to believe it happened at the Ember Temple, but I have no proof. That is where we are going. It's depending. Perhaps next.
This is a lot of information you're willing to share with someone we have just met.
If she is Van Richten's, then I trust her completely.
I'll say.
I may disagree with some of Van Richten's methods, but I do not doubt for a second his commitment to slay the devil. And thus I would not...
I appreciate your trust, and am impressed by how much it sounds like you've accomplished.
I'll say in the mayor's voice, the Vlaki, all will be well. I'll mimic it. Yeah, I'll do it.
You're really gonna...
Yep.
Oh, looks who thinks he's funny.
If you'd like, we can test to see if you can fly. Do that again.
It takes a moment for the woman to connect what you were doing. Oh, I see. I couldn't get in. I tried sneaking in since they don't allow
Trust me.
Bastani in.
You didn't want to be in. Horrible place.
In its current state, it's
Better. Vistani are still not very welcome there, however. I'm sorry, I do not have your name. I am Sasha.
I am Esmeralda d'Avenir.
Well,
I'm not gonna remember that.
if you would travel with us, we would welcome your help.
Yes,
Our last-
absolutely. It would be much easier than trying to plan by myself, and I have quite an interest in meeting my old master again.
We have some things we must accomplish, though.
What are they?
First, we must go to the graveyard, return a holy symbol. Then, we must decide exactly what we are doing here. I will cast a spell of protection to see if I can find the Sunblade.
Can I roll insight on what she said about me or old master? Just
Sure.
Then, we are to travel back to Vallaki. There is a dusk elf I must meet with, and then we will travel north to the
24.
Tolshenka Pass.
24.
one of the purposes we had coming here was to find adequate protection for the weather of the Ember Temple.
We will not be able to. We will have to get it back in Vallaki. The most I could buy from him was food. They have no general store.
You, scrutinizing her words and her expression, read earnestness tinged with concern.
Nice.
She does want to meet up with him and is worried about him.
Okay.
What about here? This man,
There is something wrong, yes.
he is not well.
Absolutely wrong.
If
He's crazy. Before you got here, I was hoping to maybe ambush Strahd if he was able to lure him here.
he is attempting to get Strahd to come here,
That was my belief. He has not explicitly stated it, but he has not procured any kind of cart or carriage, and I have not found any means of magical teleportation here.
Oh. But there is means of teleportation to here because of the fire. So if Strahd is coming to meet his bride...
He seems confident that Strahd will want to meet his masterful creation.
Mayhap that is the one Sahar saw through the flame.
But if we defeat Strahd here, he will merely return to his coffin halfway across Barovia. It will not be a permanent defeat. I'm not sure what it accomplishes.
That is a problem I was attempting to solve. Perhaps if not killing him outright, finding some way to immobilize him, but I must admit I was drawing a blank. With you here, my master somewhere else, my options are much more open. I need not wait here.
Yes. Madame Eva spoke to us of the final battle. It will be in his throne room, if she is to be believed. And I do. Still, this... He is insane, but does that make him dangerous? Really?
I do not know.
Do we know if he is talking about making a corpse that can walk, talk, becoming a bride for Strahd?
This is no different from necromancy.
I am wondering if he is merely getting his pieces from the dead.
He might. I have no idea how an abbot creates life. And he's been quite explicit in his language.
I've never heard, out of character, I've never heard of any necromancy like that. Can I roll Arcana to maybe determine what he's doing?
Sure. You can roll to get some ideas. You're thinking in your head, is there...
I've only really heard of those that...
You know what, I'm going to use my portent, actually. So, straight
death
up
magic.
27. Or actually,
So that
I'm gonna
you
use
use yourself.
plus I'm going to guidance it. 29.
But I've seen no... I've seen no sign that he is a worshipper of the Queen of the Dead.
No, he is the worshipper of the Morning Lord. Now point towards the disc.
Another confusing part of the puzzle. Sasha's running over in his head types of necromancy that he knows of and is aware of. And as far as he is concerned, teaching-wise, he's not thinking of any kind of necromancy that would fit this situation. The situation being make someone that could pass as a bride. Unless this guy thinks that Strahd is undiscerning and would accept a skeleton or a zombie of some kind, or...
But if the implication is that she's like a full person, then it sounds like what he's doing is stitching a body together and casting like a resurrection spell on him.
Less
right? Is that...
Would lesser
am I
restoration
off
work on undead?
No, not like that.
No.
Because I was thinking
feel
maybe
free to tell me
something
if
with
I'm
a
wrong,
lake.
but Sasha is thinking maybe that because he's a priest, right? So it doesn't have to be like arcane necromancy. It could be that he's stitching a body together and casting like raise dead, like the actual the priest raise on it. Do I think something like that could work? I mean, the thing is, you're returning a soul to a body. But since it's a bunch of different pieces, there's not one soul.
You're only as sure as you are out of character, and that you are
not really that
confused.
sure.
The only thing that you're truly sure of is there is no necromancy that you know, or that your master knows, that brings something back in the condition that this guy suggests it will be. The only undead creating spells, the only kind of necromancy you can think of are zombie, skeleton. I mean, there are monsters that can make vampires, but those are other vampires. And that guy is either doing a really good job of
Right.
keeping it on the down low, or he is not capable of doing such a thing. So whatever he's doing, it is weird. It is
With how vocal,
interesting, perhaps.
with how vocal he was about it, you said he did not mention anything when you came. He was quite vocal and willing to share information about his creation as he was
Yes.
bringing us here.
With me as well.
So, I'll
I
say
was in need of shelter, so I didn't want to say anything.
How long have you been here?
A little while now.
I think the guy said 8 days, by the way. In character, I was going to ask.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, okay, sorry.
In character, I was going to ask. My character was going to ask if she's able to go anywhere she wants in this place, or if she, and also if she's being watched.
I don't think I'm being watched, and he does not forbid me to go anywhere. When he introduced me to this place, said the same thing that I heard him say to you, that this place is dangerous. I've poked around a tiny bit, and I think that is correct.
Well, we have 2 objectives. Let's do them. Siguror, Krezek, go to the graveyard. I will go see about this bride.
See
Out of character.
see if he's actually insane or not.
What do you mean?
I have ways of getting information from him. I am a diviner.
Are you going to ask him details about its construction?
I may. It depends.
Do be worried. We do not know the capabilities of Otto in this. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the name of the woman, is what he suggested?
Me too.
Well, I will not go alone. Will you join me?
Siegfried.
Zig.
And she was going to say, or she is going to say, I had intended to. I thought it wise. Likely he will be more than willing to tell you what you wish to know, but you cannot be certain with craziness.
Yes. Perhaps. And then I'll look towards Ismark and Irina. See what they say.
Out of character, I'm thinking about them. What are they gonna want to do?
I'm surprised if they don't want to go with you.
Ismark remarks, a graveyard or an undead bride.
Not exactly
And
a
it's
trip
great.
to a,
Both are appealing options.
not exactly a trip to the hot springs, eh?
This has been so long since I've seen.
Are those real?
Same. Oh yes.
Very.
My master had a magic one in his tower.
In my homeland, there were.
And it also gets a head cock from like the rest of the company. Like, like they all take a moment. It's like, this is pretty nice.
There are
Nice.
also natural ones. At least home. I do not know if there are any in others.
Yes, but in this case we didn't have to climb out onto rocks. Smooth marble. Ah, my master's tower was a wondrous place. I miss it dearly.
Irina remarks, perhaps you will be able to return one day.
Perhaps. I'm sure your homeland was wonderful as well, despite my aversion to rocks.
Irina says, the priests seem to pay me strange attention. I
Yes.
think I will go to the graveyard.
Perhaps that is for the best.
Ismark says, and he looks, he's thinking.
It is fine as well.
Esmeralda like waves and says,
Three.
tells him like, go.
Yes.
We'll be more than fine together.
2 and 4.
Ezra kind of like, yeah, moves.
Do that. We're Vistani, that means we're sneaky, apparently.
There's
Funnily enough, we are doing like the deception-based mission,
Yeah.
kind of playing into that stereotype. If there is trouble, I have a listen.
Same.
Out of character, I could have picked Sending. Completely forgot about that spell. Ignoring how fucking useful that would be, because then we wouldn't have to go back to Velaki, because I could just cast Sending, and then fucking sending a message to the fucking
Oh,
Dust Elf and be like,
fucking-
hey, meet us at the Amber Temple.
We still need clothes, though.
Bring us clothes. Problem solved. Cut down on like 14 days of travel time, but whatever.
You'd also have to have clothes to bring you.
Go to Velaki and buy some.
We were allowed in the last time. We didn't do anything to get
Do they
kicked
not allow
out.
elves either? Are they fucking super racist?
Well, okay, fair enough. That is a good question. Perhaps.
Huh.
And he's a mage. He can get money. Fucking.
I mean,
Well, he has the ring. He doesn't
the
need
Vistani are
clothes.
supposed to be, like, watching over them, so that might be an obstacle, but
But he planned on getting away somehow.
this is also
Oh,
true.
I
yeah.
assume he has invisibility or some shit.
You
In
saw his
fact,
spell
I'm
book.
pretty
Yeah,
sure
you saw
I
his
know
spell
he has
book.
invisibility.
This is very true. All the pieces are falling into place.
Yeah, he can get out. He has access to like 5th level spells. He's good.
Hey, hopefully Strahd doesn't fucking rip everybody around that encampment apart.
There's not a whole lot I can do to stop it unless I'm there.
We hope for a lot of things.
If I didn't have a level artifice, I'd be able to teleport there, but whatever.
Yeah, semantics.
Okay, I'm finding place on the map, and I think I found it. Esmeralda says, I think I know where he would return to.
Excellent. Lead the way.
And you all like go down the stairs together. Ismark says, I think I saw a graveyard on the way. And you vaguely remember. There's some stuff that passed because I passed it.
And then we will head in that direction.
Can't get lost without
This is
That's
also
true. You're like, I know exactly where we're going. We're Ranger.
You can't get lost with me, sorry.
Yes. I assume that's
No.
what you meant.
Yeah.
Exit and pass through an area that, like, you kind of saw while you guys were walking through, but now, like, getting kind of slower pace. You see that in this larger area, when you leave the barracks, go down and leave the barracks, there are a bunch of scarecrows that like line the walls that are looking like outwards
Oh, that's not
as you're kind of
creepy.
like on top. You're a little raised up. They wear like tattered chain shirts. They carry spears with rusty heads.
Scarecrows?
Yeah.
Huh.
Oh, I'm very suspicious of her.
That's weird.
From this part of the wall, you can see like the courtyard below, and that is blanketed with fog.
Yeah, that's super weird.
Can you animate objects?
Is that the direction group or the 4-man group is going, or the?
This is something that you all pass through.
Oh, okay.
I'm looking at the map, and like there's technically like some stairs you could take, some other shit. I don't think that's where
Our
you're
party
looking.
is literally half NPC.
Yeah.
Although, I'm not gonna lie, I don't hold anything against this new party member. She's dope.
Sounds
We should see what she can do first. Thematically, yeah, she's cool. I want to see how she is in combat.
I guarantee she's not as useless as this part.
Yeah. This works with useless one.
Although he has a +2 sword now, so he's should be doing better.
It's
He's a
true.
+2 sword and 2 attacks. He by all fucking accounts should be doing good.
Yeah. You just need to get him maybe a new set of armor probably wouldn't be a bad idea.
Say, what
I'm
kind
not
of
giving him that +2 full play too. He's not
No.
having the best gear.
No.
What kind of armor?
Are you sure?
Did you say she was wearing armor?
I'm gonna refit it in the
Just
half
curious.
plate before I give it to him.
I'd have to like check. I think she is. Probably something. Esmeralda. I
Armored.
think she's wearing armor, but it's probably something light.
Probably said leather,
Yeah.
I guess.
I was just curious.
Like when she moves, you get like all the clothing wrinkles and rustles of somebody that's like strapped.
I'm actually gonna inspect her. Use
And
some of our
actually,
senses.
before
Can I roll perception to kind of give her a look over?
Sure. Before you guys leave, she probably also picks up like a separate like sword that she has because she was like sitting down.
So she has a sword and a hatchet. She do? That's cool.
Maybe the hatchets are
It's like
throwing
Vampire
weapons.
Hunter D.
It's like puts
Maybe the hatchets
hatchet
are
like
throwing
away.
weapons.
It's like,
Well, maybe not
then.
I'm pretty sure I'll find out later.
Yeah, we'll find out.
Well, sometime at the if she has magic stuff, items and stuff.
Perception 17.
She takes up the axe and casts Dancing Blade.
It's not a spell.
Yeah,
That's just an effect weapons can have.
look
Really?
over.
Sad, because I was imagining like a wizard with a hat is animate weapon, spiritual weapon. Just like all fucking brooms.
Looking at the wrong fucking
swarming
thing.
and attacking
It's like,
somebody.
what is this? Answer? It's different. Well, like you saw her like grab her rapier because now I'm looking at it before she left. So like she's got that on her. There are a number of. She's got a number of like glass vials that like looking more closely, like some of it peeks out from under her clothing, but it's still kind of
Right.
in there, almost specifically like kind of tucked it down for like not to be seen casually, perhaps deliberately, perhaps not deliberately. There are specific like lumps on like a different part of her jacket that inspire closer inspection, at least as far as Sahar is concerned. She's got, I gave like flies a little bit. She's got some short implements that are holstered, like 3 of them, like on her back, that are maybe like a foot and a half or maybe a little less.
Darts? Stakes.
She's also like Sahar, like taking another thing, the tinking of the little glass vials actually, when more attention is paid, mask like the tinking and sloshing of something else on her person, though it's not visible. So she's got some extra stuff, and having been around this stuff being carried, it's the sound of like a potion of some kind. Maybe 2? I don't know.
She just has 6 things of alchemist fire on her.
She might. That might be what the first glass vials were.
She very clearly
Holy water.
she very clearly has studded leather, like it's clothing over it, but there's a little more
Right.
inspection. Like, yeah, totally.
Do I see a spell component pouch on her? Or a spell book? Those are 2 things I would specifically look for.
You don't find a spell book, at least not openly on her, but the very obvious smell of like some components that like match yours reaches Sahar's nose, as well as some components that Sahar doesn't
Well, if you're saying
recognize.
who our master is.
Her master has divine magic.
Wasn't he also carrying around a pouch though?
I don't think so, no.
Huh.
Besides Death Ward, the spell he cast on you, that is cleric and paladin only.
Huh.
So I know for a fact he is a divine caster.
Can bards not get it?
No, they can't. Not
Okay.
without taking it as their magical secrets.
She's
It is very specific to them.
armed.
Or he's a divine soul sorcerer, but that wasn't even out yet when this book was written, so I seriously doubt that.
Just leading up to it.
Nah.
Yeah.
She is
He's not a
armed.
sorcerer.
She is armored.
He's clearly some sort of cleric.
Doing my
Which is
best.
weird, because he was a thief in 2nd edition. Which, hey, more power to you. Caster's definitely an upgrade. It makes him more useful.
How?
More useful to the party. Because in theory, that means he has healing. Oh my god, our ally has healing. I just thought of that. Thank the Lord.
There's a room that you pass through before you part proper, like down some stairs, where you see a deformed man in like a loose fitting collared like overcoat, and then some like drapey stuff. And there's like this big like lump that appears to like try to turn as you guys are passing, like towards you. Like his back is towards you, but the lump like appears to attempt to rotate like ever so slightly as you guys walk by, but the actual like person doesn't move or like acknowledge you guys passing through.
Is that some X-Files shit?
Bent over some kind of bent over some kind of task.
It's a rat! Ah!
No, there's that X-Files
Yeah,
episode.
oh, the conjoined twin.
Yeah.
Eyes in the back of his head.
Trying to make sure that you don't run into
He's good, Ash.
nothing. I mean, so
Ash.
eventually you're able to split, going your separate ways. It takes some backtracking, but y'all are able to make it to the graveyard. There are stunted pine trees that grow out of the rocky earth in the graveyard near the foundation of the Abbey's north wing. The windows of the structure are cracked panes of leaded glass. Ancient gravestones burst from a thin crust of snow in the yard. Beyond the low wall that surrounds the graveyard, the ground falls away. The village lies 400 feet below, and the view is breathtaking.
Ground's enchanted with suffocation.
There's this that I should jump off and see if I can fly.
Yeah, take that glider. I'm sure it'll go real well.
Yeah, here you go. He fixed it.
As Crack is resisting the urge to try to jump off and fly, Irina is looking at the view and says, "It's beautiful. You can see the town from here."
A decent change from the regular scenery of this place.
Ismark turns towards Siguror and says, and he motions to like the graves. And, what now?
We are looking for grave with flowers growing around it naturally. It seems, if I am to remember correctly, and one that has an indentation or something that matches this symbol.
Okay.
So I suggest we remain within eyesight, hearing of each other, but split up slightly and see if we can find anything.
Okay. You regroup ever so slightly and start walking along the rows. There are very few rows, and it's pretty easy to stay within eyesight of one another, inspecting the graves of the dead. Many of them beaten and weather-worn.
And the worst part is you gotta find it before Angel Eyes and the man with no name show up.
Esmeralda moves through with the knowledge, like, she's been here before, which she has.
Go figure.
Eventually, you come back to the large hall that you guys were in before. You can hear the music from before coming up from above, and she motions. It should be up there. And then you also like kind of hear a voice from up there, like after she says that. Yes, good, yes. Perfect.
Is there a way up there?
Yeah, there are some stairs.
Okay. We're gonna walk most of the way up the stairs, but I'm gonna stop just out of eyesight, and I'm going to turn to her, and I'm going pull out a copper, and I'm going to flip it between my fingers. And Sasha, showing off a little bit, is going to say, "Copper for your thoughts." Seal the dishi. Bato. And I will cast Detect Thoughts, and then turn around the corner immediately and approach.
I thought you were going to cast invisibility on both of you guys.
Nope. I'm casting Detect Thoughts. Oh, and just for a note, putting a false life on myself so I get that slot back, otherwise it's a waste. So, false life. But I did that as we were walking. I was just like, false life.
On the way, she did ask,
I gain 6 temp hit points.
did you want me to stay back, or should I be with you up front? It sounds like you have a plan.
Up front is fine.
Okay. Then in that case, she'd like rounds the corner, like with you.
I'm pretty sure he's not alone, but it'd be fucking weird if he was.
When you're around the corner,
Well, he obviously not playing
You
the
see
music. He was walking with us when we
several chairs that surround a wooden table that stretches nearly the length of the room. Wooden dishware and golden candelabras are neatly arranged on the table, standing behind which is a young woman with alabaster skin, dressed in a torn and soiled red gown. Her auburn hair is neatly bundled so as to not touch her soft shoulders. She appears lost in her own thoughts.
Does she?
She does.
What are these thoughts? As I cast Detect Thoughts.
These thoughts are unlike any thoughts she have ever read before. It is almost freakish.
Get out
It
of my
is-
head, Charles. Freakish, or
Is it
like
bad?
just really uncomfortable?
It is the equivalent of somebody thinking in like, you know, out of character, you know, like those old ransom notes where you like cut individual letters and
Yeah.
place them. She thinks like that.
Oh.
What the
It's almost as if like there are scraps of something and something else and something else that like have molded together into one, but you can tell that it wasn't before. The thoughts like form together in very basic and rudimentary thoughts that wouldn't be weird except for the way that they are fashioned, because they are generally the habits that I did while on my lesson today. Those candles are bright. The dishware is clean. That's good. And similar things as
So very, very simple.
the abbot is currently he's like adjusting like the holy symbol that he was like wearing before, and he was about to like straighten like one of the candelabras where like he sees you and he turns. Oh, it seems we have not long been parted. Tell me, what brings you here?
I've come to see your progress. I'm interested in what you're doing.
Ah,
But how did you find this woman? And I'm going to detect thoughts, trying to lead his mind to figure out exactly what he's done here.
he prepares to tell you, and I will lead into that. First, I will zip over here real quick and say that you're searching, like looking, and there's the graveyard extends around like a corner. So there's a point where after you're done, like you don't find what you're looking for, you move around a corner, and as you move around said corner, there is a ray of golden sunlight that suddenly breaks through the clouds to the west and shines upon a particular grave. The fog and the gloom seem to shrink from its brilliance. The sunlight causes the gravestone to start cracking and crumbling from like one of its sides.
Okay. Huh.
On my part, can I roll perception to see if there's any like recently dug up graves, just out of curiosity?
Sure.
Alright. Oh shit. I got a 13. So.
I was passing a 17.
Yeah.
While you had been looking, maybe Crack had on his mind, oh, I wonder if he's taken stuff from here. And you do find that every once in a while, the earth of a grave seems maybe a little softer than another. If you weren't specifically testing it as you go, it just would have looked normal. But you're like, this could be that there was rain recently, and selectively.
Okay.
Or
Like the Truman Show.
maybe it's not an outright confirmation, but it's enough to fuel your suspicions.
Right.
Well, as soon as there is now sunlight, is the first bit of sunlight we've seen since we've been here.
It's a ray of golden light
Golden light.
shining explicitly down on one grave.
Immediately approach that grave.
Bismarck kind of just stops what he's doing and follows you, and Irina kind of also.
We'll do the same out there, I guess. Because it's summer.
You stop and you're like, great. It's kind of soft. I think he's doing it. And he gets it. Continue. Move over, and you find that amidst the crumbled part of one of the gravestones, specifically the place where stuff came down, there is a ring glinting in the sunlight's ray, or in the golden ray. Sunlight doesn't act like this here.
On the gravestone?
On the part of the grave, where it hit the gravestone, it crumbled away, and you saw it start crumbling away before you got here. And now you're here, and there's a crumbled part, and amidst the crumbled stuff, there is a ring.
What does the grave say? If there's anything even legible on it anymore.
This is probably what she meant. Was this ring?
You look upon the grave, and can I get a perception from you?
Awesome. 6.
So this is one of those times where I would like to have been wrong.
It said something once, but it's just too difficult to make it out. However,
If I was smarter, had paper and fucking lead.
However, it is highly likely that this is the place that you were supposed to take it to.
Alright, we'll pick up the ring to inspect it. And is there a swap for the holy symbol?
As you pick up the ring, you notice that, inside the crumblings, it's revealed an indentation that you can put the holy symbol in.
So it's not the ring. Inspect this later. First, we gotta get what we came to get. Place the holy symbol. Oh, before take out the holy symbol. Go to move it. It's like,
Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped over that it does say something, and it totally does. So, my bad, actually. You looked, and it says Petronova on it, which, if that sounds familiar, that's the grave that you found
Yeah.
the ghost in. My bad.
okay.
Me and skipping details that would just help you, obviously.
Go to move to the holy symbol. Pull back. Prepare yourselves, just in case. We do not know. The lake looked pristine and beautiful.
Ismar nods and draws some take a great stance.
I will then place the holy symbol into the groove.
I suppose so.
Irina prepares herself, but doesn't draw all that. Place the holy symbol in, and there's a very gentle breeze that lifts aloft any loose hair. Irina, because she's got long hair, maybe a little bit of your fur, it runs through your feathers, the gentle caress of an old friend, and you hear a voice, a familiar voice, and it's the same one that spoke to you in the tomb, say, "I thank you Take this as a token of my thanks and go with grace. And then, like, the ring glints a little harder. Just a little bit.
It was the ring.
Hey, I was expecting, place a symbol on the tombstone, stuff would happen.
Character, that's what was supposed to happen, and I read it wrong. I was just lying to make it look like I did it right.
Oh, whatever.
Okay.
It's fine.
You hold the ring aloft, and it's a nice looking ring. It has a certain weight.
Ring
to
of
it.
controlling fire elementals.
Meanwhile,
Come on, ring of wizardry.
Come on,
Ring of
ring of fucking summoned light. Sunbolt. Ring of Sunbolt, I don't know.
that sounds cool. Anyway,
Sunbeam.
Yes.
Get back to this page. For no reason.
It's like Moonbeam, but with the sun.
Meanwhile, the abbot holds his hand up and says, No, not found. Made. It was actually quite incredible. Like I said before, when I said picked a proper mind, I was speaking quite literally. She's a true marvel. Let me see. Are you magically inclined yourself? Or not what to assume.
Been magic to dabble.
Yes, okay. Then, perhaps you'll be familiar. I was struck with the inspiration in my own divine guidance to fashion a bride, because certainly if there was a woman capable of soothing the hatred in his heart, in that devil's heart, he would have already found her. No, we needed something else. Something that only someone like I could fashion. I blundered at first, attempting a more cruder solution, borrowing pieces from here and there. I was a bit frustrated at first, as this place's graveyard is insufficient, but I was able to find something more suitable elsewhere. Or at least that's what I thought. Those experiments ended quite poorly.
Not a character. What does he mean?
As he speaks, you see this stormy night, a twisted visage of the man that you see before you, mainly because he is like soaked in the rain, heedless of the elements, as he's burying his shovel in earth, and with an almost crazed look in his eye, stowing away like corpses, and you see flashes of him like slicing arm and leg, inspecting tissue and bone for some kind of criteria that you can't see, as he tosses away one arm and picks up another, as he inspects different samples of brain matter, sinking his fingers into it almost in frustration before destroying it. At the part where he says, but that met with unfortunate results. I realized that the method was to create not from imperfect matter of this realm, but of more perfect flesh. And then you see him working magic like you've never seen before. You've heard of like what he's doing. You see him fashioning a person, and I'm gonna just go ahead and say, like, from your master, you are aware. Actually, no, because like you know what golems are. You are aware that golems can be fashioned, and when he's making a person, you get that vibe, but he's not doing it in any wizardly way. Like with his own like force of will, he's sculpting material that he's taken. It's not organic. He's found, instead of flesh and brain, marble and glass. He is molding it without touching it. He's like looking, and it's looking back at him.
This is not like any spell I've ever seen before?
No. You are aware of vaguely how a golem is created. I'd have you make a roll for specifics, but you know that wizards don't look almost semi-maniacally as their blonde hair like billows and like blinding light flashes everywhere. You know that it's not, at least golem-wise, it's not how it's done, and you can't, as a wizard, just take the stuff that he takes and make a person. You need better, you need more stuff than that.
You need a manual. It literally doesn't work without one. Okay. That's crazy.
Divine golem?
Is there a cleric spell in our roll Arcana to determine if there's any sort of divine magic I've heard of that can do this? Or maybe any creature? I have every intelligence skill. Is there any I can roll? Have I heard of any creature doing something like this before? Maybe he's not human. I mean, if it's not a spell, fucking that has to be what it is, right?
The only thing that can create life in this world is like fucking gods.
You ain't no kidding. Crazy stuff.
I'll take a religion roll from you.
Well, he may not.
I kind of
I'm not saying it's not, but if it is that, then maybe being
fucking nice.
17.
maybe being like, I don't know, empowered. Fucking.
I'm gonna kill this
So, you turn your thoughts inward, thinking, well, maybe he's not human, and that starts you on a train of thought, and you suspect that this is correct. I mean, not only is he talking quite calmly about something that normal people don't do, it's not like he doesn't fully understand that it would be weird, but like, he's down. He seems to speak with a confidence that like, it's cool, and even if it's not cool, he doesn't seem to be afraid that like you or anybody else would stop him. Not from it's not like Strahd where he kind of just does what he wants. He's like, go ahead. It's almost like, I literally don't think it's possible that you would try to stop me. Almost as if he believes he has some kind of divine authority, and lynching that together with something else, you think it would make sense. If he weren't human and some kind of celestial, then he probably could do something like this, because he is creating life. I mean, you read this thing in a different way that you read other things, like maybe, I don't know. Furthermore, it might make sense. Like originally when you detected your thoughts and they were fragmented, it could be a weirdo explanation of like using multiple body parts, but now that you're thinking more, you're thinking, well, wait, no, but that doesn't make sense, because you wouldn't use like multiple parts of brain.
Yeah.
Is it possible that maybe the weird thing that he's doing, you're just getting like bits of maybe indentations of like, it might be possible that in his process, maybe he caught like shards of soul in the process and didn't intend to. Like if shit's weird here,
Right.
his magic works differently here, maybe he doesn't know, because I mean it's got to come from somewhere, and if he was stronger than Strahd, maybe he would just go
using
ahead and,
holy magic to make
I
a
don't know,
golem
maybe.
and is unintentionally maybe taking
I will
souls.
say,
I started to editorialize a little bit there, so it's
this is quite the feat you have accomplished.
yes, something that I and only I would be capable of.
Yes, you
I
have
shall
said
break
such a thing.
the curse quite resoundingly.
How
They are lucky to have me.
did you?
And out of here, there's some errant thoughts that confirm that like he's not human, because you get some flashes about him.
Huh.
How did you?
Guess that would make sense with that. Hasn't aged days since he got here.
How did you find a way to create the soul? This is no undead, obviously.
Obviously not. It is a simple matter. Beings such as myself are capable of such things, and much more.
Does he, in his head, say what kind of being he is when he says this?
Yes. And that there are those that have referred... It's not his name for it, but there are those that have referred to him as an angel and a celestial, but the one that he thinks of as being most accurate is Deva.
Oh, fuck me. Okay.
Is that bad?
That's real bad. That is
You get like
that
some
is
flashes of...
almost as bad as it can be.
You
Because
get some
Graylo is
flashes of
celestial,
like
right?
clerics like kneeling in deference to him.
This is a lot different than that.
You get like a shot of him like killing like a vampire elsewhere, like in
Yeah,
some
this guy's a
other
great
far off
badass.
land. Only he's doing it by like grabbing its head and like crushing it.
I want to kill this fuck. You can probably
You
This guy
catch.
can't be the other ally that we can get.
Well, there are many allies, dude.
Yeah, there's a ton.
You catch.
I want Dave.
Some.
I see.
You can catch a little bit of him coming to Barovia.
Oh my god, this guy is crazy.
What if he's the one that can
Shoot lightning from the wall.
No, the one that would
No.
kill you. He's crazy.
It is a simple matter, and altogether appropriate, that someone of my power would be here to ease the suffering of centuries and demolish hate with the most powerful weapon of all. And he looks to his creation, and his creation also kind of looks. She turns to look at him, but her look is still kind of vacant. Love. But certainly you're getting tired of my talk, though you did ask. Is there something else I could assist you with? Either of you?
No, that more than answers my questions. Thank you. The work you've done here is a marvel.
Quite. I
Beyond
think
anything
either today or
can
tomorrow I should be able to put the final touches. Not on her.
How will you be?
She is perfect, of course, but naturally you've noticed her clothing is ill-befitting of a bride.
Oh.
Actually, it would be a good chance to ask about that matter that you told me about. I was planning to go into town and acquiring something more suiting of her. There's no good women's clothing amongst the abbey, but I'm certain that for such a good cause, the burgomaster will be more than willing to lend his wife's finest dress to this. I can also inquire about the child and see if I can do something about that as well.
You might not want to go down there and talk about this.
I will walk up towards her and cast prestidigitation to clean the dress and then mending to fix the cuts on it. And I will say, perhaps you need not concern yourself.
No. I thank you for your... She kind of watches but doesn't watch as you do it. And he says, oh, no. It is very nice of you. And it is also very nice, but this dress is of common make. There's simply no way around it. Especially for one no doubt is set in their old ways as Strahd von Zarovich. At least, as he was. I can't take any chances. And as he says this, since detect thoughts is kind of a passive thing, right?
Yeah.
You also catch, he's saying it earnestly, but you also catch, the tiniest hint of, determination, but maybe a little stronger. Beneath the surface of what he's feeling at the moment.
This is really wrong. But it's just corpse parts. I guess I don't care that much.
Yeah,
It's different.
I mean, it's better than. See,
Well,
the
no,
thing I
that's my
suggested
specific character flaw.
This is
Oh,
an end
he doesn't-
object.
that.
Well, I mean, if I cared about what he did before,
Okay.
If I was a different character, I might have been mad about him desecrating a bunch of corpses. But my flaws explicitly, I don't care about corpses.
This is true.
Because they're corpses.
Well, they're dead. They're better off than we are.
What is Esmeralda's therapist's thoughts on this, by the way? Cause
Oh, I'm not reading her thoughts.
Oh.
I'm going out of my way to not like I do with Irina when I cast the spell. It would be a
Is there
gentleman.
another person in the room? Because there was music, right?
Yes, there was. There was music. There's not another person in the room.
I mean, if he has a fucking music machine, cool.
There's, it's not a music machine. There is a violin that is playing itself a couple feet away.
Huh.
It's a little old. Maybe a little out of tune. Like, I'm not sure.
When will you be going to see to this?
Oh, today? No. Tomorrow? Maybe in a day or two. There are some other things. He, motions to her and says, "You're perfect. But there were a couple of things I want to brush up on."
Maybe
Not
some
sure.
social
It
skills.
depends how long it takes. Just some finer points of etiquette. Nothing too strenuous. You catch a little snapshot of maybe a little earlier when she picked up the wrong spoon, at least presumably, because she picks up a spoon and he puts it down and maneuvers it backwards, and then she spins one of the other spoons backwards, and he kind of
Fucking creep.
This guy is
unparalleled.
bad shit.
She will be put through all of her paces and tested on every facet of nobility known to man and monster. Barring this being easier than I would have thought, but of course it would not be. Doing such a thing.
Have you met Strahd's brides?
No, I have not. I have been occupied here. You get a flash of him strolling through an area with a bunch of barred doors and things barking at him from the shadows as he kind of
The
casually
fuck?
walks through and is talking to someone that looks like one of the guards that you saw earlier, but a little different, because I think it's a different person in the book.
Oh, like Otto.
Someone like
the
Otto.
guards. Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought you meant the guards down in the town. Never mind.
Yeah, strolling the town at night.
Yeah, no, but he was here walking with one of these weird creature people.
Yeah,
The mutt
giving instructions of some kind to them.
I know, out of character, there's a thing in this book called mongrel folk because someone was like, "That's a racist name." I don't know if these are them.
I think he made a check when Sahar saw it.
Oh, you might be right. It's been a little bit since I've seen that.
Let's just go ahead and say yeah.
Okay, out of character. That is kind of a shitty name for them, but whatever.
A little bit.
Oh yeah, I remember because I commented on the time that it's kind of a racist name. Whatever. Okay.
That's why I also threw out there if Otto was the one that you saw.
Okay.
But it shouldn't keep me too long.
And I mean no offense. If he is polyamorous, how are you? Do you think another bride will break his curse?
You can feel the determination bubble a little more, though he doesn't show it in his voice or anything, as he says, "I think that it is a task that none but the most perfect bride could accomplish. The depravity of that fiend is no match for this." And he softly runs a hand through her hair, and for extra weirdness, she clearly her body language recognizes he's doing it, but she doesn't turn and look at him immediately. So it's almost kind of like he starts and he kind of, as he's like doing it.
You know, I'm kind of tempted to, like, sit back, let him invite Strahd, and see his reaction.
Oh, fuck no. Let's assume Strahd's even gonna come. Like, he's probably not when he's out hunting us down to the last.
It would be best to put any concerns out of your head. I'll hear nothing else.
Right.
Simply occupy yourselves with your stay.
Okay.
I guarantee it will not be interrupted, barring that you are careful where you go, as some places are a little old, and in these lands, even close to a power such as myself, not all places are safe. And you get like another couple of snapshots of like that place and like things in the dark, like laugh barking or cry barking.
Is there like a small village of mongrel people? Mongrel folk?
Yeah, call them mongrel folk. Mongrel people sounds even worse.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, so that's weird and creepy. I will say, yes, well, would you mind if we were to stay here until you decide to travel back to the village? Perhaps we could accompany you.
Well, perhaps. You can stay here as long as you like. I believe I have offered the same to Esmeralda. Do as you need. There's not much in the way of refreshment here, I am afraid, but aside from that, my hospitality is yours.
Okay. So the first thing I do is go back to the room we were in. I will ask Esmeralda, there's a room in here. It is a concrete slab. I'll describe the room where the fire teleported to. Do you know where this room is?
I have a guess.
Encased in wood, like old
Is it?
wood.
I would take you there.
How close is it to the room where we will be staying? Is there a point that a 200-foot cube will cover both that room and the room we're staying? I mean, 200-foot cube, it's 200 feet each direction, so it's pretty big.
Our best to try and calculate. It says
400.
I think so. It is actually quite close, if I am correct, but I will take you there first to...
Oh, I do not need to go, I just need to know that it is close.
Well, I'm not sure if it's the one that you saw. From your description, I think so, but I would like to show you first.
Then let us go. Okay.
You set off. Ring in hand, you will be free to return to your comrades, but next time, as that's what we got. I am not only GM in this game, but Artist Dave Harper on Instagram and Twitter. As we conclude this session, I hope it was cool. I will hand it to you now. If there's anything that you want to say, do.
So I'm Marvelous. I have not been your illustrious Dungeon Master this week, but I have been a player, so hey, that's cool. You can find more of me at Lights Camera Initiative, or which is Chimera Illithid, for the rest of this month on Twitter, where I speak for some of the people some of the time. You can obviously find all of our episodes on YouTube. Make sure to leave a comment if you have anything you wanna throw at us. We'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. Additionally, on Thursdays I'm on the Tainted Lands Twitch stream. You can catch me there. I will also be doing a one-shot for Fuck Cancer Roll Dice. It'll be a Monsters and Other Childish Things game, so you should check that out as well. And that's everything that's going on with me.
Alright. Anything y'all want to say before we go, or do?
Morbid and Twist as fuck.
Fucking hell.
What the fuck?
This is a big turn.
That's it.
Fuck. Yeah, it is.
And I thought the water was weird.
Although Esmeralda was awesome. That's
I agree.
That is super cool.
Wholeheartedly.
She's
And
dope.
for now, we'll just say goodbye. So, until next time, bye.
Bye.
Bye.